The following program was produced by Cinema Milkshake.
And now, our feature presentation.
Greetings and salutations. I'm Ryan, and this is my podcast.
Cool.
It's about movies.
Oh, there's a big surprise!
Hey, I've seen several thousand of them, okay? I need to do something with all that useless knowledge banging around in my head.
Brother, you said it.
There are many different types of movies, and many different types of people who like them.
It's a crazy world. Someone ought to sell tickets. Sure, I'd buy one.
So, I've asked some of these beautiful people to recommend movies to me that I've never seen.
You gotta come take a look at this.
This hunt better be good!
And then they join me to talk about them.
Uh-oh!
Give you any idea what you're getting yourself into, Daddy-O?
Try me.
Thanks for the opportunity.
You got it.
Any genre, any decade, from anywhere in the world.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
So what have you got?
Now the fun begins.
Let's all go to the movie.
Will it kill me or thrill me? Kill me?
Thrill me.
Kill me?
Kill me.
Kill me?
Thrill me.
Kill me?
Thrill me.
Kill me?
Do it! Are you not entertained?
Welcome, everybody, to yet another episode of Kill Me or Thrill Me. This is the podcast where I, Ryan Lusky, ask various people to recommend various movies to me, and then after I watch them, they come on the show and talk about them with me. My guest today is a longtime online friend. I don't think we've ever met in person, but known each other for quite a while online. And she is a horror writer, very talented horror writer, and she owns a soap company and also hosts her own podcast called The Mentally Oddcast, which I've been on. In fact, this whole episode is because she mentioned the movie on that podcast, and I was like, I need to see that. Wednesday, Lee Friday, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It is lovely to be here.
Yay! Here we are in this hellstorm of a world we call 2026, and we're just trying to maintain some sense of...
I meant here on the show, not here in 2026.
Yeah, good.
2026 can blow me.
Yes, they can do all of that and more to me, as long as I... Wait, that didn't sound right. Anyway, you, this is kind of a long time coming for both of us, me being on yours and then you coming on mine. And why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
So I'm Wednesday, Leave Friday. I am a horror writer. I was a sex writer for about 20 years, mostly reviewing sex toys and explaining to people how to do various sexy things.
Doing God's work.
Well, things like orgasms are good for you. So if you're not sure whether or not you should go for it, you probably should.
Really? I've heard. I remember having one once years ago. That was pleasant.
Oh, dude. In all seriousness, orgasms they contribute to restful sleep. And there's more to it than that. But that alone, just the improvement in your sleep, can impact your health in tons of other areas of life. That's not really what I'm here to talk about, but I'm autistic enough that whenever it comes up, the thing is, sex education sucks in this country.
Well, yeah.
We do not have national standards. There are lots of entire states that teach abstinence only, as if people don't know how to not do it.
Right, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was, that's something I take really seriously. I was writing for 2 different sex websites, one of which was sold to Ukrainians and then turned into a store, and the other one decided that AI would be a more cost-effective way to get their points across and, basically let the whole staff go. So that sucks.
So wait a minute. They want a robot to tell everybody how to have something robots cannot have?
Apparently.
Okay. Unless I missed something and Grok is coming all over the place, but...
I can't speak to the mindset of someone who prefers AI interactions to human ones. But I know that they exist, and that a lot of people think that easier and cheaper is always better, and that's just not how I've lived my life.
No.
I mean, I like marijuana a lot, And that is a place where you learn that cheap and fast is not the way to get the best outcome.
Right.
So even here in Michigan, where pot it's one of the cheapest, nicest places to get pot in the country, but still, that cheap shit that people grow in their backyard and they try to get it to sprout as quickly as possible, not as good as the good stuff. And we know this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, AI is kind of the same. It's shitty dirt slop weed that nobody really wants.
Dirty slop weed. I love it. I love it.
So my debut novel actually just came back out in a 3rd edition from Barnstormer Press. And my debut novel was basically a Mary Sue. It's about a fat girl who was abused and crazy and murders her abuser. That's, it's a late point of attack. So we pick up with her just having murdered someone.
Okay.
And, it deals with a lot of topics that were really important to me like 20 years ago when I wrote it. Dating as a fat chick, trying to figure out mental health diagnoses and meds when doctors don't believe you, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And just generally dealing with the bullshittiness of life when you don't know what the hell you're doing and everyone around you is like, why aren't you doing better than this? And you're like,
right, yeah.
I don't know. So
if I had a dime.
But my other 2 long form books, one is a serial killer story and one is a zombie book, are both also coming back out in new editions from Barnstormer this year.
Nice.
And as you know, I also do the Mentally Oddcast, which the focus of that show really is on showcasing perspectives of neurodivergent people with mental illness, people who have gone through addiction and recovery, traumatized people, just generally people that are dealing with their mental health and using their creativity and the creative process itself as a coping mechanism, as a way to express what they're feeling. So that's something that I feel pretty strongly about in my life, just the idea that art helps you. No matter what you're dealing with in life, there is a way to make art, that art can make it easier. Art can help you be better understood. So yeah, so that's what I do with my show.
Okay. Yeah, it's a great show.
But we also talk about, movies and books and why we hate our parents and our parents hate us, all that there.
Losing our religion, I think was a big one when I was on there.
Yes,
but
yes.
Yeah. No, that's great. Yeah, you keep busy. I love it. And I do quite enjoy your show. And I do encourage everybody to check out your books because I also enjoy your writing. And well, so you brought a movie to me, a very interesting film, but we're going to get to that in a minute. But before we get to that, I want to do a little thing I call I have a question for you. It is a would you rather question.
Okay.
And in the spirit of the game, I do ask that you have to choose one.
Okay.
Death is not an option, is what I tell people. And since you're a sex writer, or we're a sex writer, this one might appeal to you. And if you're a fan of dinosaurs, would you rather have a vagina on your forehead or have penises going up and down your back like a stegosaurus? That's the same look I got out of the people I asked earlier. They're like, what?
You know what? I like to sleep on my stomach, so I'm gonna say the penis spines.
Yeah, that's what I picked too. Just honestly, I picked it because that's the funnier choice. Like if you take your shirt off at the beach and do some stretches, and I just saw these little penises wobbling around, and that's just hilarious to me. So I'm going with the Stegosaurus penis myself. So
okay, see, that is not where I thought you were going with this question. I thought we were going to start talking about those dinosaur porn books that were like really popular for a hot minute.
Oh, the Chuck Tingles?
Well, I think there were 2 women that were writing under pseudonyms because they did Ravaged by Raptors and Taken by T-Rex.
Yeah, that's right.
And a couple other ones. Like I didn't do a ton of reading, but it's the kind of thing I had to read for work. So, and I like to stay abreast with what's happening in literary circles.
Yeah, exactly. I actually did read a Chuck Tingle short story collection. And I found it, I thought it was cute. None of the scenarios in it appealed to me, but to each their own. So you brought to me a movie that I had never heard of, but like I mentioned, you brought it up on the show that I did on your podcast. Inhumanwich, with an exclamation point, mind you.
Yes.
Was written and directed by David Cornelius. And he is the founder. He's a filmmaker from Cincinnati, Ohio. And he founded a company called Argo One. And this was their debut film. They also followed that up with a movie called Fratry, which I don't know anything about. And then they did another one called 71 Minutes in a Bunker with the President of the United States. A comedy.
Right.
And currently, from what I read, they're in pre-production on a film called Let's Punch Nazis. So, yeah. I know. I mean, even if the movie's bad, that's just
a great premise.
Great premise. Like, I'll watch that all day. It looks like Mr. Cornelius was a writer, filmmaker, TV. He worked in TV in Cincinnati. So then he started this company, Argo One, and their mantra is, "We make movies so you don't have to." That's not a mantra. That's a slogan. So we can all appreciate that, I think. And yeah, do you want to, because I either I have the honor of doing this or you have the honor of doing this. Do you want to explain the plot of this movie?
Oh. Well, I'll broad stroke it, and then you can let me know if I leave out any key points, okay? So there is an astronaut.
Oh yeah.
A married astronaut who goes into space, as one does, and his wife has packed him a lunch of a sloppy Joe,
which I don't think you would eat in zero gravity, but whatever.
No, and plus I don't think NASA lets your wife pack your lunch for you. It's a very it's a little more specific than that. And and he has an onion allergy. That's important for later. So store that little nugget of knowledge in your brain. So if you're a Night of the Living Dead fan, you'll probably appreciate the peril of this. But he's hit with a mysterious high-level radiation in space. And the next thing you know, he is part human, part Manwich.
Yes.
Thus becoming the Inhumanwich. And he crash lands on Earth, and hilarity ensues.
Hilarity and horror.
I mean, I don't want to give away spoilers. You need to be on the edge of your seat for this.
Yeah, that is a perfect summation of the story. This movie is a homage to the sci-fi films of the 1950s. So automatically I was intrigued once I realized that, because as most listeners know by now, because I never shut up about it, I do another podcast called the Unidentified Flying Podcast, where my apparently sexy co-host, Rick, and I are traveling through the 1950s and reviewing all the science fiction films in chronological order, year by year, title by title. So this movie definitely would appeal to fans of that, because this is an absolute homage to that era of filmmaking. In fact, it's kind of similar to a film from 1959 called The First Man into Space. He goes into space, he's lost for a little bit and gets dosed with something, comes back to the Earth, and, horror and mayhem ensue. So this is definitely, Inhumanwich is definitely of that vein. There's also a great goopy movie called The Incredible Melting Man.
Yes, I was thinking of that, and then also This Island Earth, I think it just vibes that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's also a really bizarre, pretty shitty Herschel Gordon Lewis film called Monster A Go-Go that has a similar premise. Herschel Gordon Lewis, of course, does not pull it off as well as any of these other films because, you know, he shot it for like $2. Mr. Cornelius basically cast a lot of local people, and they use local settings, and I'm sure whatever gymnasium would let them in or whatever, you know, office space would let them in. And yeah, they basically just said, screw it, we're going to do this kind of homage to 1950s horror, and they go for it. They absolutely go for it. So I need to know, Wednesday, why did you recommend Inhumanwich with an exclamation point to me?
Well, I know that you have an appreciation for older films and also for indie films. And I know that, you know, being a filmmaker yourself, that you would have an appreciation for what they were trying to do. But even as B movies go, I think this one is really exceptional. It's unexpectedly smart. I mean, you can tell, unlike, say, what The Asylum does, which, like, I watch tons of Asylum movies. They're bad, they're cheap, you know, the monsters are ridiculous, but they're not as good as this one. Like, this movie genuinely made me laugh. Every scene had something to enjoy. And even still, you couldn't guess where it was going. Like, you know, you figure because there's really two outcomes for a movie like this. Either the monster takes over the world or they kill it.
Yeah. Now, another movie this reminded me of, and I don't know if you've ever seen this, it's so obscure. And up until I found a copy of it on YouTube, I almost thought I had hallucinated it. But back in the early 90s, there was this straight-to-video movie with Tony Curtis.
You're going to say Lobster Man from Mars.
Yeah. You've seen it? Oh, hell yeah.
Oh,
all right.
Totally.
You're the only other one.
I'm sitting here like, he's going to say it. I can tell already that he's going to say it. And then you said Tony Curtis. And I'm like,
that's awesome.
That's right up there with Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Except that I think more people have heard of Killer Tomatoes, especially now that there's a novelization.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah, I totally agree about Lobster Man from Mars. Absolutely similar vibes. Maybe Lobster Man, by virtue of Tony Curtis, had a little bit more well-known cast, but, you know, that sort of thing just ups your budget.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I actually tried to get a girlfriend in high school to watch that with me, and she said no. And then she made me watch Sid and Nancy. So,
when you have a passion for a film and you want to show it to your person, it's so frustrating. Because, like, you know, I'm married, and H is super stubborn about certain films. Like, it took a long time for me to get him to watch Pixar's Up,
really?
For example. And also The Incredibles. He doesn't like the visuals in Pixar animation. He doesn't like how it looks. He really just prefers the old school hand-drawn stuff. And so it's hard to get him to watch, but it's like, he's a sci-fi Marvel DC fan, so how are you going to now watch The Incredibles? It wasn't until I got really sick that I was like, okay, well, you need to watch Up with me because you need to understand some things. And so...
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no. That first 10 minutes.
Yeah. And I mean, that's... You know, that's one of the greatest scenes in all of cinema, and it just drops on you out of nowhere. That you think you're going to watch this cute little kid's cartoon, and Up ends up just kicking you around for an hour and a half.
Yeah, I would almost argue, I like the movie, but I would almost argue it never gets better than that first 10 minutes. But that's because I'm drawn to misery.
Well, there's that, certainly, but like, the don't meet your heroes message is intense.
Yeah. For sure.
You know, because his hero turns out to be a piece of shit. And I had a similar life experience. We're not going to speak the name, but there was a person, as I think you know, most people who have spoken to me do know this, that I fervently believed that they were a good person from the time that they were a little boy until they were, you know, until about 3 years ago, maybe not even, like really recently. I was like, oh... You're actually a coward.
Yeah.
And you're terrible. Boy, was I wrong. And like, so I just had to sit and live with it. live with being like super, super wrong about something I felt really strongly about.
Yeah, and I definitely know who you're talking about, but yeah, he shall remain nameless.
And honestly, that's part of it for me, because imagine how fucking stupid you would feel if you consider yourself a reasonably intelligent person. You have a maybe a little overdeveloped intellectual vanity, and then you get tricked that hard by somebody who wasn't even trying to trick you.
Right. Yeah.
It is not good for the self-esteem. If I wasn't writing books about it, I would be beside myself.
I wanted to ask you, what, like, I'm guessing you've seen a number of the types of movies this is homaging, right? I mean, are you a fan of the 50s sci-fi stuff?
I would not say it is my dominant horror focus,
Okay.
but sure. I think them, Earth versus a Giant Spider, The Blob. I mean, there's a lot of classics from that era. The movie Them, for example, like, people view that like, oh, it's just a, haha, giant ants, whatever. But there is a scene there that's absolutely chilling, which is when the guy sees the giant ants and he goes to the police and he's like, look, man, there's giant ants. You guys got to do something. And the police are like, yeah, we know, man, we're on it. Just hang out in this room and wait. And then they walk out and they're like, yeah, that guy's crazy. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. And they know.
Yeah.
They know that he's not crazy. And as a kid, that was the scariest part to me. It was just like the little boy in Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Oh,
that is
yeah.
like, no, that's not my mom. And nobody believes it.
Yeah.
Because that, to me, is one of the scariest things in horror, is when there's something happening and there's something happening and nobody will believe you. I think probably being a woman, that hits me a little harder.
Sure.
Because that is what our life is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I was telling you before we started recording about this friend of mine that I take to her infusion appointments every week. And the reason she's there is because an insane number of doctors did not listen to her. And she, her health life is just horrible now because so many male doctors and even a couple female doctors just said, it's in your head. Which enrages me. Like, I am like Russell Crowe snapping chairs in half in LA Confidential mad whenever I hear about, something happening like that to a female friend of mine. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Because, and I get it. It's my privilege as a man that I never really had people not believe me.
Somewhere along the line, male doctors, which would have been, most doctors at the time, were taught that women tend to exaggerate how much pain they are experiencing. And I think, if anything, women minimize how much pain they're in.
Oh, sure.
Like when they ask me, like, I will describe a lot of things as discomfort. If I find them tolerable, I won't. Like, pain is something that I think I need assistance with.
Yeah.
But like, once you get to a certain level of like not healthfulness, certain things just cause pain.
Yeah.
And there's like, I need to sit down pain versus maybe I'll take something for this pain. But a lot of it is just discomfort. And then when it turns out that a dude is feeling like basically the same thing I am with the same symptoms, he'll act like he's dying and he needs, infusion painkillers, and just like,
oh yeah,
dude,
yeah,
you really don't. Not to mention the whole thing of like, yeah, I think my arm is broken. Oh, have you tried losing weight? Having trouble with my allergies. Yeah, well, losing a few pounds, that might help.
Right.
Like, every situation, they suggest that. And it's like, well, here's the thing, brah. I've been fat my whole life. These symptoms are new. So let's look at that if we can.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of which, you'll be hopefully amused and entertained by an upcoming video that I'll be posting. I got a couple of the nurses at the aforementioned hospital to assist me with this. I purchased a menstrual cramp simulator and tested it out and had it filmed. So,
wow, how'd that go?
Oh, you'll see. I definitely.
Oh, I certainly will.
They made fun of me because at about level 6, because I had the women test it out first to see if it was legit. Like if they wear it and they're like, no, that's not what it feels like, then why bother? But they were like, oh no, this is pretty close. And yeah, I was okay up until level 6. And at level 6, I said the immortal words, I'd call in sick if it was like this. Yeah.
You can't call in sick every month, friend.
Yeah. And the nurse there's like, oh dude, I could like, she's rattling off all these medical procedures that, she could perform at a level 10. And I'm like, yeah, okay, no, I get it now. Spoiler alert, but Ryan learns a lesson. And again, it's not that I was ever one of those guys that didn't believe. It's just, it's different when you finally kind of experience it and you're like, oh shit, okay.
Well, and then think about like if you have a customer service job. So you're in that much pain and you have to smile and coddle these terrible people.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a McDonald's manager. I managed for Blockbuster, like places where they are absolutely abysmal to employees.
I was a manager at both myself. So not at Blockbuster, but at a...
Oh, okay. So you get it.
Yeah, I was at McDonald's and then I was at both a local mom and pop video store here in Grand Rapids. And then later I was manager at Suncoast in the mall. Which was some people don't remember. I'm sure you do. Was a video and movie store. R.I.P. That was a great place.
Well, yeah, because they would stock widescreen stuff on VHS in ways that like nobody else really was, and that was like my husband's whole thing. When I met him, he did not buy movies that were not letterboxed, and it was still. This was like I met him in '99, so it was still very much VHS.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute. So you're saying we could go to your place and watch Ghostbusters in widescreen right now?
Yeah.
Like, yay.
And that is when Wednesday fell in love. Yeah, no, if you came in there and like me and a couple of my other friends were working, you did not leave with the full screen video. We made sure of that. Like we would proselytize until we were blue in the face, and we had our spiel down.
Like, do you have such and such movie? Like, yeah, but it's a pan and scan.
You don't want that.
And then you have to stand there and explain what it is. When I was a kid, when somebody explained to me, because like MTV and music videos, you'd see a lot more widescreen stuff with the black bars. And I was like, what is that? What does that mean? And then it was explained to me. And I said, well, that's stupid. Who decided to make these different sizes? Do people not talk to each other? But
I love that you're a kid having these thought processes.
Oh, yeah. Well, like I said, I was autistic as hell. And I didn't know it. Because even if they were testing people, they didn't know how to diagnose it in girls.
Oh, right.
So anyway, but yeah. I was definitely thinking about stuff like that when I was a kid, when I wasn't making like zombie maps to make sure we would all be safe and know what to do when the zombies came.
Oh yeah, I had several of those. I had a vampire kit.
Nice.
Never got a silver bullet though. My dad owned every gun under the sun, but I could never get him to like invest in a real silver bullet. And I insisted, we may need it. And you're failing me as my father for not protecting me.
Well, even if you don't encounter a lycanthrope, it'll slow a vampire down. Yeah, I mean, it's not like it has just one use.
Right. And I remember after seeing Fright Night and telling my whole family, like, okay, don't invite them into the house. You have to believe in the cross if you're going to use it. Like that was like a guidebook to me. Like, okay, now I got all these rules. Cool. Still never happened. Damn it. I'm waiting for my turn. Well,
you know what theory I've always wanted to test is like, I have an online ordination from Universal Life Church.
Okay.
Does that mean I can make my own holy water? Is that what that means? I don't know how to test it. There's no methodology because I don't know enough vampires.
How would you? Yeah, that sucks.
Every time I think I met one, they turn out to be goth.
Oh yeah, guilty. Oops. I went through that phase. Well, yeah, so that was my fault for bringing up Lobster Man from Mars. That got us on a tangent. But I love it.
It's never a fault to bring up Lobster Man from Mars.
And that's this podcast is all about, not only is it about the movies or the movie in question, it's about the conversations that talking about movies lead us to. So that's the beauty of art, folks. And speaking of art, we should get back to this cinematic masterpiece, as I would call it. So basically, this does, once the irradiated pile of gloppy man meat falls to Earth, he terrorizes a town, and it basically becomes the Blob at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And there's military people involved. There's a church picnic that goes gloriously awry.
Yeah, there's so much to enjoy, and I think I probably missed a few jokes because, again, the movies they were spoofing are not necessarily the thing that I know most about in terms of time period. But some of it is so, like, when they call the wife to tell her what's happening and she repeats everything they say back to them in an incredulous voice.
Yes.
And it's very clear that those people are not actors, but they really are bringing their A game.
Oh, yeah.
Because they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, everyone has an and that really just speaks to the direction.
Yeah.
You know, like what the director is doing, because everybody is obviously very comfortable on set. Everybody seemed like they were having such fun doing what they were doing, which makes, you know, me as a viewer enjoy watching it that much more.
I would agree.
You know, it's not like when you watch The Shining and you're like, it's a miracle Shelley Duvall didn't off herself after this experience.
Or off Jack Nicholson.
Know,
but
well,
she had that axe in her hand. She could have, or no, that was a baseball bat. Oh well. Yeah. No, I agree with you. I feel like, and I think that's one of the things that I often enjoy most about those old 50s science fiction movies is, now obviously there's a lot of dreck in that decade. You know, which is why Rick and I embarked on this, is to try to find the gems amongst the trash. Although the trash can be a hell of a lot of fun sometimes. But when you see a good one, like you were talking about Them, which is arguably, I would say, one of the pillars that decade stands on in terms of science fiction films. It's up there with Day the Earth Stood Still and The Thing and Forbidden Planet. Like those are the Mount Rushmore, whatever the hell the kids say nowadays. What I love about them is everybody in those movies treats it sincerely. Like when they're looking at that giant ant, they aren't laughing. They're in the moment, acting to a giant puppet, and it's great. Like again, there are some where you can tell the actors don't know what they're doing, but you had a lot of name actors back then in those, and they take it seriously. And I love the sincerity of that. And going back to your point about the asylum, it's that whole manufactured bad that I just get tired of. Like when you have a truly good, like, people say so bad it's good, I tend to say so bad it's fun, but whatever. That's lightning in a bottle. You can't recreate that no matter how bad you try. And I think what, like, for instance, the asylum lacks is they lack a sort of sincerity, because
yes,
you know,
and at a certain point it is insulting to the viewer.
Exactly.
Because they're basically rubbing in your face like, whatever, man, you're gonna fucking watch it, you know you are, so why, you know, why would we take that again? Why would we, you know, not have everyone in? I mean, one of the things about Asylum that pisses me off actually is that everything is so clean.
Yeah.
Like, it's a boat full of sailors. They've been looking for this giant shark for like 6 weeks, and everybody is spotless and pressed shirts. And, you know, it's like the movies where women have a full face of makeup to, like, you know, chase a monster. Or,
right.
You know, they've been out in the woods for 2 days, but they're still reapplying lipstick for some reason. Like, come on, you guys.
Well, and all you got to do is look at Jaws. Like, those guys were on that boat for what, maybe 3 days? And they look sweaty and gross, and yeah, then you see these, you know, they're the crisp shirts and the, just, it's so sterile. Like, I just don't, and I'm not saying I haven't watched some of those that didn't amuse me, but I tend to just get tired. Like you said, it's like they're talking down to the audience, Whereas something like Inhumanwich, I feel like the guys making this genuinely had an affection for those types of movies and wanted, because I think in order to do a good spoof or a good homage, especially an homage, but even more of like a sort of comedic leaning spoof type thing, you have to have a genuine affection for what you're spoofing, or else it's just going to come off as like you're being a dick and you're just making fun of something to make fun of it. But if you really want to like show your love for something, sometimes the best way is to do a send up of it. Yeah, I thought that was quite refreshing, because I had been, after that show I did of yours, because you also mentioned a movie called The Shark Exorcist Shark, or the Shark's no Ghost Shark.
Well, I probably talked about Ghost Shark 2, because Ghost Shark 2 is better than it has any right to be.
Right. And I want to see it.
That's not even like a winky good movie. Like, it's legitimately good.
Okay.
Like, the script is like, it reads like it's someone trying to prove themselves. And that's the thing about those shark movies, is that some of them are just thrown together trash to see, you know, how many people they can get to watch. But then you look at something like Shark Side of the Moon, for example, is, I mean, just that title makes you think it's going to be thrown together trash. And then it's like, wow, that was really inventive. And this is an interesting plot. And I don't know where this is going. You know, and that's always the best thing, is when I have no idea where it's going, but then the ending still works.
Oh, I would agree. And what happened was after you told me about Ghost Shark 2, and I kind of went and just started not binging, but I definitely every couple of nights would find another movie of that ilk and throw it in. I like right now I'm currently sifting through the Amityville knockoff movies. I've finished watching the actual official Amityville movies, but I wanted to start exploring like Amityville Gas Chamber and Amityville Dildo and all these like spoofy Amityville, because you know Amityville isn't copyrighted, so anybody can, because they can just throw it on anything and make a movie that says Amityville. And there is one called Amityville Shark. There's Amityville Exorcist. So I was watching those, and then I watched a couple shark movies, and there was this one I watched called Damn Sharks, and it was these sharks from the ocean had gotten into a freshwater stream and were literally building a dam.
Yes.
Or I should say building a dam literally out of the bodies of the people they were attacking. It wasn't good. Like in fact, I think it would have been a great 3-minute trailer.
Well, you know how sci-fi has like that alt Shark Week?
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. There was a year that they did like a few shark movies. There was, I think, Trailer Park Shark and Swamp Shark and a couple other ones. But then the survivors from those movies were in another movie where they were in a support group. And it was called Nightmare Shark. And they were all like, they were, you know, kind of therapizing each other to get over the PTSD from their shark things. And they were hallucinating sharks, and the sharks could like get them, even though there's this house in the middle of a neighborhood. And that's one of the things that I enjoy about the genre, is just the audacity.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, how ridiculous can you make this without overtly insulting the viewer's intelligence?
Right.
Which, like, you know, I'm all into suspending my disbelief. I'm here for it. That's what I'm here for. Tell me a story, make it fun. I'm on board.
Yeah.
You know, you have to knock me off board for me to not have a good time.
Yeah.
You know, which is why like Santa Jaws immediately went into my holiday lexicon. Like, all right, nope. That's going to be a yearly thing. That one is.
I haven't seen any of these good ones. Like, I just keep renting the really bad ones, apparently. So I got to write these down, and
I'll make you a list.
Yeah, please do. So yeah, there's a whole world of these that I kind of discovered. Well, no, I shouldn't say discover, because I did know this whole subculture existed, but for some reason, after talking to you that time, and then after watching Inhumanwich, I've been on a kick. Like every couple of good movies I watch,
Cool.
I got to throw in an Amityville Terror. They actually have one called the Amityville Terror instead of horror.
Where they're hoping that your grandparents will be confused
Yeah.
to get you that one. Dude, you know actually what's one you might like? I don't know if you like the theme casts. Like, you know how Swamp Shark had a bunch of people from Melrose Place,
Sure.
and then the Lavalantulas had Police Academy casts. Well, there is one called the Sharkansas Prison Break Massacre.
Yeah, I've seen the cover for that.
Okay, and like the cast of that one is mostly porn stars.
Ah, okay.
And, you know, if you like the thing where people are way over made up and their hair looks just perfect while they're running from sharks in a cave somewhere,
Yeah,
trying to break out of prison, yeah, that's definitely that's one to cast your glimpse on for sure.
Did you have to review that during your earlier career as a sex writer? Was it did they make you review movies that just starred porn stars? Because that would be awesome.
No, I mean I was a TV and movie reviewer for a while, like early on, because you don't. It's fun writing, but you don't make a lot of money at it.
Oh, absolutely
like I'd be
not.
lucky to get $30 for a review.
Yeah.
I didn't end up reviewing a lot of porn. I think at one point I did a review of Adam and Eve's porn service.
Oh, okay.
And so in order to do that, I had to get some porn.
Yeah.
So I own a copy of Midsummer Night's Cream now.
Oh yeah, I'm laughing because I've heard of it.
Well, I mean, I don't like porn is not really something that I enjoy, not for any prudish reasons. That's not where it's at for me.
Gotcha, yeah.
So when my husband and I look at porn, it's for work generally, but also it's hilarious to us.
Yeah.
It's just like, because to me, like, I don't want to use terms like demi and sapio because they're cringy to some people, but like a photograph or a film of a person, like I don't care. I don't care what people look like.
Right.
That's not arousing to me. It's not interesting. Unless like an appearance is one of those things that I think is only remarkable if someone is absurdly good looking or absurdly not good looking.
Right.
You know, you get somebody like Bradley Cooper that's just like suspiciously good looking. Like, where the fuck are you going with that face?
Yeah, yeah.
If somebody told me that he was created in a laboratory to, like, you know, foil women in some way, I would not question it. Or gay men. I think Bradley Cooper definitely has a look that would appeal to most gay men.
I'm sure, yeah. That scene he did in Wet Hot American Summer, I imagine,
well,
inured him to a few guys. Yeah, no, I know what you mean. It's just like, yeah, where did you come from? You're a clone. I don't trust you. I'm going to stare at you, but I don't trust you. Kind of thing.
Yeah, but then you get someone like Margot Robbie, who is incredibly beautiful, but then at the same time, it's like, wow, she's awesome.
Yeah, no,
like, as
I
a
agree.
human being, she's just straight up awesome.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
did you?
You know, they can surprise you.
I don't know if you ever knew this about me, but I sort of worked in porn for a little while. Not on the production side, and not on the talent side. I know that was probably everybody's first thought, was that I was in them, based on my, you know, alluring voice. But I actually did the captions because I worked for a closed captioning company.
Right. I did know that you did captions.
I watched at least 3 years worth of porn. Like, if you were to combine it all, you know, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day over several years. At this point, I don't give a shit about porn anymore. Like, I long ago lost my any sort of, you know, value for it. I have nothing against it.
Once it becomes work, it's just not hot anymore.
No. I mean, yeah, those first couple of weeks at work were like, oh, I'm uncomfortable. But, you know, I'm also getting paid to watch this. Okay, that's cool. And then 3 years later, I'm like, God damn it, what am I looking at? I don't even recognize any of these body parts anymore. Jesus Christ, was this made for a gynecologist or a proctologist? Because there's nothing sexy about this. And, you know, that's kind of where I lost my mind. Basically, it was like this Cronenbergian nightmare.
I did not know that you worked on porn, because if I did, I would have told you that, A, I was a phone sex operator for a very long time. but also I made a porn. I didn't realize I was making a porn. I was with somebody that I was, like an FWB back in the 90s before I met my husband. And we were fooling around and he recorded us. And I was like, stupidly, like most chicks would be like, okay, but don't show it to anyone.
Right.
And then the next thing I knew, I actually saw myself in a cheap, like behind the beaded door frame video store
really?
of just like, yeah, like I was on the cover of the box.
Oh, no shit. I had no.
Yeah.
You're the second person I've met that actually was in pornographic type material. Because one of my other friends did a spread for a magazine. It was for like plus size women.
Okay.
And she posed for that and mailed it to me. She's like, here you go, and autographed it. And I'm like, you didn't tell me you were doing. Okay, well, great.
Yeah, I actually, because of those two things, the phone sex and the porn, I feel pretty comfortable calling myself a sex worker, even though when you say sex worker, people think of something very specific involving like street corners and, front seat handies and such.
Right.
And it was all like no contact sex work, but PayPal doesn't like it.
Yeah,
it still has a lot of the caveats that other kinds of sex work have. Because even just being a sex writer counts as sex work.
Well, I would imagine. Yeah.
If I have to log my masturbation time and then tell it to my boss, it's work.
Oh yeah. God.
If you're testing sex toys, they want to know how much time you spent with them.
Wow. Man, why didn't I ever do this? Jesus. Because
you'd eventually be replaced by AI,
right?
And then you'd feel sad.
That's right. Because the thing that does not possess an actual genital is going to tell you what's best for your genitals. I guess if that's where we're at, that's that orgasmatron from Sleeper is what we're all headed towards.
Well, it's funny because I finally got my husband to watch The Orville with me. Did you watch The Orville?
No.
Oh, it's quite good. It's Seth MacFarlane basically riffing on Star Trek.
Yeah. I just haven't.
Well, one of the characters is a kind of automaton. He's like basically Data. He's the Data equivalent on this in this franchise. Except that in his episode where he tries to date a crew member, because on Star Trek, when that happens, Data tries to date someone and they end up, she's like, yeah, but you don't feel anything. And he's like, I know, I'm an android.
Yeah.
You knew that already. Whereas on the Orville, he's trying. He's trying to understand how relationships are, how they work. And it's still, logical and calculated, but it's framed in such a way of like, well, if I make this woman happy, then her work performance will be better. Her mothering will be better. Like everything, and there's a point where, I don't know if you have to content warning this, but he tries to kill himself.
Oh, wow.
Because the crew, something happens with his race of automatons and the crew hates him.
Oh, no
shit.
And
he reasons that if he wasn't there anymore, the crew would be happier and their functioning would improve.
Yeah.
So it's interesting just to explore the idea of like why people do what they do, and framed as that, like, even if you're working entirely on logic, there are still reasons to treat other people well. There's still reasons to try your best and not be an asshole and all that there. And that's, Seth MacFarlane is another one of those people like Trey Parker, Matt Stone, that's like very raunchy and funny. But if you're paying attention, they're talking about some shit that goes pretty deep and is important. And if we listen to it, we might be better people for it.
Yeah. Oh, no, I totally agree. Have you seen Orgasmo?
Of course.
Okay, good.
Have I seen Orgasmo? What's Orgasmo? No,
How? Neutered man's got no balls.
You're gonna ask me if I've seen Cannibal the Musical next?
No. If you've seen Orgasmo, I just wanted to throw Orgasmo in there because that got kind of dark there for a second.
Oh, totes.
Because I was gonna say it's funny. The last episode I just recorded that is now out. We did the Florida Project, which was a very depressing downer of a movie, and then I'm like, okay, and I'm following that up with Inhumanwich, and then somehow through our conversation and our tangents, it got really dark about android suicide. Oh, okay, we're good. Let's move on. No,
we can't.
No, we can get as dark as we want.
Posit what Asimov would say about that.
We can if we like. It's sci-fi.
No, I don't know Asimov nearly well enough to know. I just know that he doesn't think robots can hurt people, and yet in every fucking story, it's like, oh no, the robot's gonna hurt someone.
Yeah.
But I guess that's by the same token, though, that if there are reasons to treat people well, depending on what a computer or an android's, like what their function is supposed to be, it might also make sense to hurt people. I mean, look at Ash in Aliens.
Yeah.
Or Alien, rather.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I mean, he's supposed to be Johnny Get-Along and do his job, but then there's a thing that the company wants him to do, and then all of a sudden it's crew expendable.
Yeah.
If he needed the crew for things, then he would have helped the crew and saved people.
Right.
But he didn't.
Well, look what would have happened if they would have treated Megan right. Like, she wouldn't have killed that dog. But they were so mean to Megan.
Poor dog.
I know. I mean, I had no problem when she killed that little kid, or made him run. But as soon as she went after the dog, I was like, God damn it. It's like when I watch Halloween, I'm like, I don't care if Michael gets the kids being babysat. It's the fact that he kills that dog that bothers me the most. Like, no.
Oh, but so many great actors came back and played Tommy Doyle, though.
That's true.
You got your Paul Rudd, your Anthony Michael Hall.
Yeah, well,
maybe just those two.
Yeah,
but that's enough.
No, that's like the James Bond of Halloween roles, is they just have to keep rebooting it with a new actor.
Well, it's funny because every time I watch Halloween, which is pretty frequently, that's a movie I'll just put on while I'm doing things, and I always think of the nurse in that little role that she has where she's just smoking and telling the doctor to be more empathetic toward the kid who murdered someone. And how many times has she been back since then? Because she is in Halloween 2 for a hot minute. Yep. She's in H2O, and she's in, I don't remember if it's 4 or 5. And then she's in the new series.
Oh, wow.
The most recent trilogy.
I honestly didn't know that.
She keeps coming back.
Okay. I'm not,
Yeah, it's insane, which means she has to be doing the conventions.
She must be. It's weird. Like, out of all the franchises, Halloween's probably the one I know the least, even though I have seen them all multiple times. And Rick, my friend, who I keep bringing up, Sexy Rick, he loves the Halloween movies. So that's probably a conversation. Like, as soon as you said that, and if Rick's listening, he'll be like, yeah, Ryan, duh. This is why I'm sexy and you're not. But I'm never going to let that go, by the way.
That's not why.
We love you, Rick.
We do. We really do.
And there are quite a few people online that mentioned that this movie is what would happen if Meatwad from Aqua Teen Hunger Force was to go nuts one day. I laughed at that. Not my material, but I appreciated somebody drawing attention to because when I'm watching it, I didn't even think of it. And then I looked online and I was like, oh yeah, that's Meatwad. Meatwad goes crazy. So folks, if you're looking for a movie where Meatwad goes crazy, this is probably the closest you're going to get.
See, because then that musical scene could have been MCP Pants.
Right. Yeah. See, this is the tie-in.
That musical scene is so funny because it's so like Elvis-y.
Yeah. No,
But then, like, the song itself is hilarious. The lyrics are hilarious.
I also really loved the dude because when I think part of him gets eaten by the Inhumanwich, and he's just got like these really cheap looking skeleton legs, like.
And he just keeps the skeleton legs for the remainder of the film.
Yeah, rest of the movie.
He's just fine with it.
Yeah.
Just sitting there with skeleton feet.
That's
like,
what I do.
I'm a skeleton foot.
Have you ever seen the movie Deathbed, The Bed That Eats?
I have only seen it in passing, like on the streamers as available.
Yeah.
Because there was actually one night where we were vacillating between that and Killer Sofa. And we went for Killer Sofa. And then it turned out that it was actually about a recliner. And I remember feeling very deceived by that.
Yeah, that is.
But it's hilarious.
Okay, I haven't seen it. Deathbed, The Bed That Eats is like, no joke, one of my favorite films of all time. It is what I would call art horror, which is weird considering the title. But it is like a very weird art house style horror film. But there's a scene where the guy gets his hands caught in the bed, and it, like a piranha, it gnaws off all his skin. And through the rest of the movie, he's just walking around with skeleton hands. It's the funniest thing to me. Like, he's just like, his girlfriend's like, oh, your hands. He's like, I know. Because it's done like an art film where it's all this, like, you know, people just reading, monologuing and staring at things longingly. Like, some night you should watch Deathbed, The Bed That Eats, because me and my roommate were just completely surprised by how weird and artsy that movie is. Like, you could walk into some hoity-toity art house theater and sell tickets to it. I guarantee you people would be walk out discussing it like it's Godard or Kurosawa, like, because it has this feel to it that it's an art film, even though it's just a stupid movie about a bed that eats people. And I can't explain it any other way. Check that out if you ever get a chance. Next time you're vacillating, definitely settle on Deathbed. So,
well, I think we're going to be watching a lot more Tubi in the near future because Shudder raised their prices and their old price is now a commercial tier.
Oh, Jesus.
And they're really going to have to fuck right off with that. Because, I mean, when I first got Shudder, it was so affordable. It was like $5 or $6 a month.
Yeah.
And now the basic is like $8.99 and they want it to have commercials. And I'm really opposed to any streamer that I'm paying for having commercials.
I would agree.
You know, that's just not okay.
No, that's bullshit. I had no idea.
And when they make such a big to-do about, we're for the fans, like, okay, so you're just robbing the fans over a bunch of content you didn't even make?
Right.
And then it's kind of a double whammy for the actual fans because they canceled Joe Bob, who had a pretty huge following.
Yeah.
And they canceled the Creepshow series, which, as a horror writer, that was one of my goals. I thought that it might be within my abilities and level of notice that I could have gotten a short story produced on Creepshow.
Right.
I was working on it. I was working on trying to get one of my stories in front of Nicotero, even though I've had some issues with Nicotero's work over the years.
Sure.
Because some of it I absolutely love, but he was the showrunner on The Walking Dead when Dale Horvath died.
Okay.
And that is one of the worst, most ridiculous character deaths in TV history. It's just bad.
Okay.
Because, I mean, I don't know how invested you were at the time, but in my opinion, in all of zombie lore, if a zombie is attacking you and you can keep the zombie or zombies from biting you, you win.
Right.
You don't die.
No.
And yet, on The Walking Dead, there was this zombie that got stuck in the mud for a long time. It couldn't even pull its own legs out of the mud. But yet, when it got to Dale and attacked him, it tore open his belly with its bony zombie fingers.
What?
And Dale was my favorite character. That was Jeffrey DeMunn's character.
Okay.
And, you know, the guy with the Winnebago. And I was just so upset. Because the thing about Jeffrey DeMunn is that he played Andre Chikatilo in Citizen X.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And that is a fantastic movie. It's an incredible performance because Chikatilo is not someone that is easy to humanize. And I mean, people feel different ways about humanizing serial killers on film.
Right.
But I think it's important. Like, I have a serial killer book, Kiss Me Like You Love Me, and that's coming back this year in a new edition. And it does, I guess I don't know if it humanizes him so much as it explains him.
Yeah.
Like, because it's a multiple first person perspective, but every other chapter is from the first person perspective of the killer.
Okay.
And one of the other characters is his childhood friend, who sort of describes a few inciting incidents, and you get to see, like a train wreck. You just slow-mo see this person, and you see it coming. You see all of the things that are twisting him and breaking him and turning him into someone who doesn't have empathy and is all about just, following perverse urges.
Right.
And it's the kind of behavior that people say, my God, how could anyone do that? How could anyone behave that way? And I'm like, I know. I'll explain it. I'll explain it in this book.
Yeah.
And some people say it's my best book.
Okay.
Where was I going with that? Was I
Jeffrey DeMunn
to talk
and you
about myself? Is that my deal?
Yeah.
Yes, Jeffrey DeMunn. Because I was one of those weird kids that read everything I could get my hands on about serial killers, which wasn't a lot at the time. I mean, you can only read Helter Skelter so many times before people start looking askance at you.
Not that I would know from personal experience, but I've heard.
Because I don't think we should necessarily humanize killers and like want to feel bad for them or whatever, but they do have pitiable stories.
Yeah.
And if we don't try to understand how we create people like that, we're just going to keep doing it.
Yeah. And
we need to be better.
I think there's also a world of difference between humanizing somebody and sympathizing with somebody, because I think, and I was talking about this with someone recently about that movie called The Zone of Interest that Jonathan Glazer made. It came out a couple years ago, where it showed just this the normal life of this Nazi family that lived next door to a concentration camp. He was in charge of running the camp, and he was raising his family next to it. And the movie is so mundane and just everyday ins and outs of keeping house, of doing this and that. And it's definitely typifies that whole idea of the banality of evil. And a lot of people took issue with it, saying, well, you're humanizing this Nazi. And I'm like, but that's important to understand, is that he is a human, and he's just not a human like you. And we need to understand these people to know how to keep them from doing what they do, or to be on the lookout ourselves. So I don't, I think there's something valuable in exploring that, like you're talking about.
Well, that is the foundation of art, is that thing you just said. We need to understand, because you can apply that to any art that's real art and not just a product, because art, it says something.
Yeah.
And we do need to understand. We need to understand those kinds of people even more than we need to understand like goodness and falling in love.
I agree.
And being happy and being artistically driven. Like, that stuff is all awesome, and I would argue that's a lot of what we're here for. But the problems that need fixing, and the thing is that what is happening in society now with like podcast bros and stuff, that makes it so much worse.
I agree, because
it provides an echo chamber-ish community to young men who are already really angry.
Yeah. I don't know. I always kind of cringe a little when people say that, like, just, how can you read that, or how can you support that story? It's just like, it's history, and these people exist, and they screw up everybody else's lives. And it's like, it's the whole thing about how do you defeat your enemy unless you actually understand them.
Yep.
And like you said, I mean, we want to focus on the good stuff and the good people too, but they're not the ones I'm worried about. when I leave the house, and I just want to know what makes a human, because I'm not one of those people that automatically labels someone a monster if they do something monstrous, because I'm like, no, they're just a person like any of us that just took a wrong turn somewhere, and we need to know how that happens and understand what makes a person like that do what they do, because that could be any of us under the right circumstance or wrong circumstances. And I don't know, I guess
That's what the Joker says anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen the movie. Is that from the Joaquin?
No. One Bad Day is from The Killing Joke.
Oh, okay. See, I've never read that one either.
You shouldn't even watch that. You should just read it.
Yeah.
There's a movie, but don't watch it.
Okay.
Or watch like the first half of it, because something happens in it that's just like, what? Everybody shut up. But,
okay.
But no, see, the thing is that we do a thing as a society where when someone does something that's bad enough, we dismiss them as evil.
Yeah.
That person is evil. They do evil. Evil is a supernatural construct. It's not a real thing.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, I understand the impetus for wanting to say like, oh, that's evil. It upsets me so much. That's such a tragedy that, whatever happened. And I mean, I'm not trying to detract from that, but to call someone or something evil is to give up trying to understand how it came to pass and what we can do about it and our own responsibility.
Yeah.
Because that's a huge thing in my book. In Kiss Me Like You Love Me are people that could have stopped things, but didn't.
Right.
They were not proactive. They didn't pay attention. Or they, it was like, oh, I probably shouldn't make a big deal out of that. I don't want to be called a hysteric. And that's, another thing that's even more true for women who are used to being dismissed.
Right.
That, they'd rather not report something than have a cop show up and be like, there, ma'am. I'm sure you just imagined it,
Yeah.
That kind of condescending bullshit.
Right.
And that hurts all of us.
Yeah, I would agree. 100%. And I just love the fact that given the movie that brought us here to this episode, that this is where it has led us. And I mean that.
Well, but you know what? It happens in the movie. They do it to the wife. They're condescending as fuck when they call the astronauts in space. He's turned into a giant Manwich, and they call the wife, and they're like, yeah, well, looks like he's probably going to die. Maybe you should come down here.
Yeah.
It seems like he's probably going to die, and maybe I should come down there.
Yeah.
Because she repeats everything.
It's brilliant. And what's crazy is that's what those movies are like. Like, that's the one, obviously going back to the 1950s, there's a lot of problematic stuff in them. And we deal with that. But at the same time, it doesn't mean you can't enjoy it. But there are so many times where it's a female character that's just like, there's one part like, wow, you're the first female astronaut. How does that make you feel? And the guy behind her immediately goes, I'll answer for her. And he just leans in. I'm like,
yep.
Okay, you just proved the point. It's just little stuff like that where I'm like, okay, yeah, you couldn't even let her explain. And then, of course, all the other male astronauts are, why'd you want to come up here and journey through the stars with us when you could be at home and, reading the crossword puzzle and cooking breakfast for your son? Why? That's what a woman should be doing. And it's just like, dude, she's so much smarter than you. She built this rocket you're flying in, and you're condescending to her. And, and then inevitably she falls for him anyway. And it's all that. So I guess what I'm getting at is I like that they played that up in this movie of just the stupidity of how these men, I mean, this is definitely a movie where you're supposed to be laughing at these people, not with them. And the president and the military, they're all so cartoonish and incompetent that.
Well, there's a part where they're talking to the reporters, and behind the scientists, like, in the background, one of the cops is hitting on the wife.
Yeah.
To the point where she has to like deck him to get him to leave her alone.
I wrote that down in my notes.
That is so era appropriate.
Yeah. No, that's hilarious. And I like that ultimately, of course, too, spoiler alert, I won't give away the ending, but let's just say that by the time the third act rolls around and they finally figured out the only way they can defeat the Inhumanwich is to find a champion professional eater. Is that what he is? Like just one of those guys that can
a competitive
eater. That's the term I was looking for. And I'll leave it up to you. Normally I don't mind spoiling movies on here because a lot of them are a lot older, but this one's still fairly recent. I would argue that it's one of the better things to have come out of 2016 than other things we've been having to deal with since then. But do
you wonder if they tried to get Joey Chestnut?
Maybe.
Because I mean, if you're gonna go for an expensive cameo in that movie, that's when you would do it.
Yeah,
you would bring in an actual competitive eater,
right? And probably the grossest part in the movie. I gotta confess to something that as a guy who's seen way too many horror films, although that's probably not fair. There's no such thing as way too many horror films. But
I don't know how there could be.
Yeah, exactly. I should be swatted across the face for saying that. Where's my cat? Cat. But I've seen some gross shit on screen. I've seen some gross shit that was in news footage and documentaries. But for some reason, the one thing that grosses me out more than anything in movies is anything involving food. Like, I love food. I'm a food guy. But watching competitive eaters eat, I'm like in Stand By Me when they're all throwing up on each other. That's me. Like I cannot stand when I see somebody with just chunks of meat in their beard and ketchup all over their face and they're just mowing down. I'm like, I'd rather watch Cannibal Holocaust than, that. So anyway, this movie by the end was just, it was grossing me out to begin with, that it was just this huge blob, this like throbbing pile of lumpy meat and ketchup. And then when they show that guy going after it to eat it, because, obviously what's a competitive eater going to do but eat the bad guy? So I guess if you're like me, folks, and competitive eating traumatized you.
Now that you're saying that, I'm thinking about films where food is, part of the horror.
Right.
And because there's a lot of cannibal films, 10,000 Maniacs springs to mind, where they like bring out the corpse and serve it up like it's Thanksgiving.
Ravenous.
That Hansel and Gretel that has the girl from It.
Yeah.
That movie has some really gross food stuff in it because, it starts out, there's just this magnificent banquet, and then she's like, where is all this food coming from? And then we find out.
Yeah.
Or like Snowpiercer.
Oh, God.
My God.
Yeah.
When I watched Snowpiercer, not even the baby, but when they showed what was actually in the blender, I screamed.
Yeah.
When I saw that. Like, I was horrified because it's long after that scene where they bring down the completed bars and everybody goes crazy and eats them because they're so hungry.
Yeah.
And then, oh my God, I'm making myself gag just thinking
I know,
about
right?
it. Because, but I wonder, like, how common is that fear? Is it up there with, like, clowns and body horror and the dark and stuff? Like,
I don't even know that I would call it a fear so much as just a sort of revulsion, which I guess is a type of fear, but I don't know. It's like The Substance is another good example. That scene with Dennis Quaid eating, and it's just a close-up of his mouth, and I'm like, that's the most disgusting thing in this movie to me, is that, well, Dennis Quaid, but him, but the close up of his mouth eating is just like, because I don't know if you know this movie, but back in the 80s, it was called Never Cry Wolf with Charles Martin Smith. And it was this true life story of this scientist that went and lived with wolves up north in the Arctic. And he learns to start eating rats. And there's all these scenes of him mushing them up and eating them and he's trying to show the wolves that he's almost feral like them. and you hear the bone snapping and
Nope.
Yeah, I saw that as a kid, so maybe that was
hell no
part of it.
You know who eats a rat is the guy in Grave Encounters at the end of the first Grave Encounters movie.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Oh my gosh. I love both the Grave Encounters movies. I was bummed they never completed the trilogy.
Okay.
But the scene of him eating the rat, like my husband and I watched it, like just rewound it and watched it maybe a dozen times trying to figure out how they got that shot without him actually eating a rat.
Okay.
And I think we figured it out, but oh my God, it's horrible. And the thing is, there's also like Cereal Mom is a great example because like I don't have a food thing in general, but meat with bones still in it where you like have to sink your teeth in and rip out the flesh to eat it like a zombie.
Yeah.
I don't do that.
Oh, you don't like chicken wings?
I don't go pick up a rotisserie chicken.
Okay.
I do not do wings. I don't do ribs. I don't do any of that stuff.
Okay.
So, but Cereal Mom has that wonderful scene where Beverly, Kathleen Turner, she loves the birds and she loves looking at the birds outside and feeding them on her little bird feeder. And then she goes over to the other house and they're eating chicken. And it's these close-ups of them like slurping at the bone. And it's so gross. And it just enrages her because of the psychopathy of the film. I think Cereal Mom is a ton of fun.
I've only seen that one once. Like I've been meaning to go back to it.
Probably the most accessible John Waters movie, like for general audiences.
Okay.
Nobody's like giving themselves oral or anything in it.
Or
it's a little
eating dog shit.
And a lot of what he does, right.
Masturbating with a crucifix.
Not that can't have cinematic value. I'm just saying.
Oh, it does.
This one is a little... Well, plus, I mean, Matthew Lillard. Like, anything that Matthew Lillard is in should be viewed by as many people as possible. That's just... I don't make the rules.
Okay, fair enough. I think I've seen most of his movies, so I passed the test.
Now I need to know. Now what you had told me is that the options are that it thrills you, it kills you, or it's somewhere in between. Now I cannot imagine that Inhumanwich would be in between for anybody. You're either going to be down with it or you're just not.
Sure. Well, I have a scale of levels of thrill as opposed to levels of kill. I'm guessing you want to know if your selection killed me or thrilled me. I will say that I really got a kick out of this movie. I thought it was a lot of fun. And usually when I get to this portion, I do like to just get out of the way the couple things here and there that I did not like. There's not much really because I automatically got where this was coming from. I used to make movies like this in my backyard in high school, and me and my friends once spent an entire Saturday making a movie called Attack of the Killer Shopping Cart. And we stole a shopping cart from a local D&W and we shot POV shots. We did all this. There were ninjas in it. It was ridiculous. But so whenever I see a movie like this, I'm automatically like taken back to that time in my life when before I had any illusions of being a serious auteur or storyteller, it was fuck man, we're gonna make a killer shopping cart movie, let's go. And so I just love when I see a movie like this that's where somebody actually did it, as opposed to me and my friends just shooting it on a camcorder and then forgetting about it because the next weekend we had another idea. So these guys follow through with it, and that's fantastic. If I have any complaints, it's basically I felt like sometimes the editing did a disservice to the jokes because they would kind of linger after the punchline a little too much for me. Like I was like, no, that's funny, cut. But they kind of linger a little bit. and it's been a couple weeks because I watched it a couple times, but I can't pinpoint any exact examples. And it was not enough to keep me from enjoying the movie as a whole. There were just times where it was just, I guess the filmmaker in me was like, I would have cut that sooner. Or I would have rearranged that scene and had that visual payoff before that one. But that's neither here nor there. because I think what these guys did do is they completely captured the essence and spirit of what those movies are like, and what, for instance, me and Rick love about them so much that we made a whole podcast about it. And I've been obsessed with those movies since I was a kid, and I love them. It's sort of a unconditional love. Like, if it was a science fiction movies made in the 50s, I love it. You don't even have to show it to me. I already love it. Kind of thing. So I appreciate when somebody takes this, kind of like why I loved Lobster Man so much. I don't even mind those Lost Skeleton of Cadavra and those guys. I don't think those are perfect movies by any means, but I do think they have a genuine affection for this type of movie and this era of filmmaking, and it shows in the way that the stuff they spoofed is actually stuff that happens in those movies, and they weren't mocking it. They were more so amplifying it to its absurd degree, so that you can kind of see, yeah, that is silly how they always talk to women in these movies, and how the woman rarely has anything of value to say unless she's repeating back what the man said. And it's like, so let's just take that trope and make it even more absurd. And I thought that was great.
The young lovers in the car.
Oh yeah.
First of all, I just was like, okay, first of all, which one of those people is old enough to drive?
Right.
Because they both look about 12.
Oh my God. I thought the same thing. I'm like, what? These are grade schoolers. Like, what are they doing in this car?
Your mom drop you off for this date.
Yeah. I'm going to drop you off, son. You guys can make out in the front seat for a while, and then I'll come back and pick you up, just like I used to do.
Well, and that's the thing. He's just this little twerp, and then he's like, so where were we?
Yeah.
Like, dude, I hope you were going home to get a bologna sandwich, because what even is this?
Yeah. No, that was, I don't know if it was intentional, or I gotta believe it was like, let's just find the youngest looking people and make them be the teenagers, because obviously everybody else in the movie is probably in their 20s or 30s, so they kind of had to,
right?
You know, you got your old people are just young people in old people makeup and clothes. You know, the sergeant is obviously just someone's friend that throws on a mustache and chomps a cigar, which is, again, this is what we would do. It was find my dad's old army uniform, throw it on, grab my mom's old wedding dress, throw that on, and these are our characters. Now, where's the fake blood? Where's the monster shopping cart? Let's go. And it was just fun. It's the kind of movie where I guess if I was pressed, I could probably nitpick it, but I don't want to, because I think its heart is just so much in the right place that
yes,
I just have nothing but affection for it. And I was so surprised, because I'm used to, when you hear about a movie called Inhumanwich, that it was going to be some cheap, like, stupid TNA romp thing where it's girls on a beach, and, you know, I don't know. I guess I've seen so many of those kind of cheapy movies.
Right. And that's why I recommended this to you in particular, because first of all, you're a filmmaker, so you have an appreciation for it in that way. But also, I mean, I don't typically use the word elevated when people talk about horror, and like elevated horror. If there were such thing as an elevated B movie,
sure,
this would absolutely be it, because it is so reverent to the things that it is spoofing.
Absolutely.
It shows such respect. And yeah, I knew that you would like it, and I knew that you would be surprised. Actually, I shouldn't say I knew you'd like it, but I would have been bummed and quite surprised if you didn't appreciate what was happening there. And the skeleton legs.
Yeah, the skeleton legs, like, right away. Because again, that's something we would have done. We're just like, yeah, you got that plastic skeleton from Halloween, shove it up your pant leg, and we'll, you know, and it's like, yeah, and it's that kind of, and these guys, they obviously had some kind of budget, and, you know, they got it out there. They got it distributed, and I think there's a lot of people that will probably just miss and I'm not saying this from some sort of elitist, I'm better than you standpoint, but I think some people will probably watch this and not get the vibe of it because they're not as immersed into 50s horror. And, you know, I imagine there's going to be people like that. If you don't know what they're homaging and spoofing, it may not play the same. But if you do know, like next episode we record of UFP, I'm going to pimp this movie. Like I'm going to
do it.
I'm going to be like, you need to get this movie, get Lobster Man from Mars, rent Inhumanwich. I streamed it for free on Plex. So if you have a Plex channel or a Plex account, that was the only place I found it. I don't know. I'm pretty sure you could probably buy it through their website at Argo One Productions. But
I bought it on Amazon.
Did you?
And I think I paid $12.99. And here's the thing. Like, obviously not everybody can afford movies right now.
Right.
But if you are going to be buying a movie, buy movies from small filmmakers.
Absolutely.
Because they need that money and they'll see it.
Yeah.
You know, most of the people who work on big budget movies, they get paid when the movie comes out and that's it. They've been paid. They're not getting residuals.
Yeah.
But small filmmakers, and I mean, I've never met David Cornelius, but if he woke up a millionaire tomorrow because that many people bought Inhumanwich, that would make me very happy.
Yeah. No, I would agree.
I would be like, yeah, he deserves that. I actually didn't know until I looked it up recently that he made a political movie. And because I think Inhumanwich is so smart and so self-aware, I'm very intrigued by what he would do with a political comedy.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
stoked to find it.
I want to check out that president one, and I'm curious to see what his beating up Nazi movie is. And if you go to their store, they're very LGBTQ friendly with some of their shirts and stuff. In fact, they've got their logo, it says transgalactic and it's in the color of the trans flag. They've got a shirt that has a big pile of Inhumanwich that says no gender, only meat monster. And then this is my favorite. It says meat is murder and the meat is going to murder you. I want that shirt, but you might like this one. It says, it's the Inhumanwich recipe shirt, ground beef, tomato sauce, Worcestershire sauce, a pinch of mustard, no onions. He's
right.
Allergic. Yeah. No. So, yeah, check these guys out. I think their heart's in the right. You can even buy an Inhumanwich mask of the monster with a bun around it. So definitely check these guys out. It's you just go to Argo One. I just Googled it and found it, and they definitely have some interesting stuff and a little store. So go and support them. I usually don't pimp that kind of stuff on my show, just because a lot of times we'll be talking about a movie and I tell everybody where to stream it, and then next week, by the time the episode airs, that movie's gone. So, but in this case, I have an actual website I can send you to, and check them out, and yeah, buy their movies. So this is Wednesday's right. This is the type of stuff we need to be supporting. It doesn't mean you can't go to the Criterion sale. Doesn't mean you can't buy all those beautiful Arrow discs, but once in a while, buy an Inhumanwich. And if somebody ever puts out Lobster Man, it better be Criterion.
Yeah.
Criterion needs to do Deathbed.
Did Kingdom of the Spiders.
Yeah.
I was so excited.
Yeah. No, all that shit coming. And I'm like, why do I have to be so broke? Normally, another thing I do at this point is we go through the aggregate sites like Rotten Tomatoes and stuff, but this doesn't have enough of a footprint yet. Even though it's almost a decade old. There isn't much.
Well, it will now because we're hyping the shit out of it.
Hell yeah. In fact, Mr. Cornelius, I'm if you listen to this, you know what? You need to come on the show. I'll bring Wednesday on and we'll talk to you, and you can recommend a movie to us. And I don't know. We want to talk to you, man, because you made us smile in this this horrible year of our Lord 2026, 2025, whenever you first saw it. And we need you, man. We need people like you. making killer Manwich movies, because
Totally.
otherwise I'm going to go insane. Gas is like $6 a gallon. But one little thing I wanted to bring up, just in case you weren't aware of this, is I went online and looked up some Manwich recipes, and I found a couple that I think are really weird. But if anyone's interested, someone has made a Manwich ramen. Although the warning does say you toss in the noodles with the Manwich instead of the broth, so you get a goopy Manwich ramen mess. However, the caveat is, according to this, the sodium levels approach weaponization. So
I'm sure.
Yeah, I would be careful with that one. And then the other one, if anyone's interested, there is a Manwich donut sandwich where you put
No, there isn't.
Sloppy Joe filling.
You made that up.
Nope. Sloppy Joe filling between glazed donuts. This has been classified as more of a stunt than a meal. So if you'd like to try it, I think you should send me pictures of you doing it, or video, even better. Send that to me. I will literally buy you a copy of Inhumanwich on whatever format you prefer, if you actually make a Manwich donut sandwich and send me proof. You heard it here, folks. My first giveaway. Wednesday's tempted.
What a day to already own Inhumanwich.
I know.
Some sort of obscene Luther burger.
Yeah, there's no way I'd fucking eat that. But I hope someone else does. And I hope they God, look what you've done to us, Mr. Cornelius. We love you. So Wednesday,
we do.
Thank you so much for bringing this into my life and bringing me a little bit of joy on what was kind of an annoying day. I have no complaints about this. Oh, I would just say it thrilled me. Like, I don't know where on the scale, but let's just say it thrilled me. Like, straight up thrilled me.
Yay!
And I am going to preach the gospel of Inhumanwich and tell everybody to watch the fuck out of it if they buy it. And you can, or it's up to you if you want to eat an actual Manwich. I loved Sloppy Joes as a kid. I now cannot eat them. I don't think I could eat them after watching this movie, just because of Mr. Big Beard Man at the end. Although he's wonderful. That actor that plays the champion eater he's charming. He's just fun. So
he kind of has like Jeff Spicoli vibes.
Yeah, he did. But when he comes down with the two forks, wearing that t-shirt, and he's just like, they're like, it's time to serve your country. He's like, yes. And yeah, that was, it's pure gold. This is just, do
you guys want to get a pizza?
Yeah. At the end, he's like,
weird, right?
Weird, right? Yeah. Let's get a pizza. Yeah. It's just, I don't see how you couldn't have fun with this. And, it's kind of the perfect remedy for a lot, really, about what's going on right now. I think this is the kind of stuff that keeps me sane, along with the massive amount of pharmaceuticals that are just right off camera Wednesday.
Well, but I mean, the arts are so important for just maintaining. I mean, we all remember during COVID, what did we do? We stayed inside and we streamed shit.
Yeah.
It's how we all know how much a Tiger Cup costs now.
Right.
We didn't know that before COVID.
No.
But now we know. It's $2,000.
Yeah. Well, and the worst thing that happened to me during COVID was, well, I got COVID once, but even worse than that is I discovered Uber Eats, and now I use it way too much when I should just drive to the store and buy that packet of toilet paper. But it's so much easier when you don't have to pause the movie you're watching and you can just click order on your phone. Thanks, COVID. You've ruined me. But I don't know. There are worse things, I guess. So Wednesday.
Yes.
Again, thank you so much. I want to give you a big old hug just for bringing this joy into my life. But this is not a visual medium, and you're you're hundreds of miles away. No.
Yeah, because I mean, we're in the same state. We're just, a ways apart.
Yeah, maybe an
gas
hour
is
or
like
two.
$5 a gallon.
Yeah,
so
I'm not going anywhere this weekend. I don't know about you, but
I hear that.
I'm watching movies and playing Nintendo, and I'm gonna eat not an Inhumanwich, but I'll eat an Inhu pizza. That made no sense. Why don't you let everybody know where they can find your stuff, your soaps, your podcast, your whatever you want to plug. This is the plug zone.
All right, sweet. Well, I do have a soap shop. It is called Scared Soapless, and we do more than soaps now, but it's mostly spooky soaps. And we do some resin stuff. There's jewelry, candle holders. We do a lot of candle holders. And also we have a line of lip balms, and they are so yummy.
Oh,
there's
wow.
like cherry lime Ricky, and there's like chocolate dipped strawberry. We just did a chocolate orange because we have a flavor of the month. Cherry cordial, like grape and peach and blueberry. Just a lot of awesome flavors. Bacon. That most places won't have.
Yeah, are you going to do a Manwich flavor now?
I don't think that I am, because it would bring. I mean, what is lip balm without onions? I ask you.
Oh, dude.
No,
and I don't mind onions, but
our store is at Coffee. That's ko-fi/scared soapless, and that'll have our full catalog. If you want to listen to the Mentally Oddcast, and you totally should, we can be found on Zencaster and everywhere else that you get your podcasts. I think, Apple and Spotify and all those good places. If you want to talk to me, just as me, I'm on all the metas as Wednesday Leave Friday. I'm pretty easy to locate. Yeah, those are my main things.
Awesome.
The show and the shop.
And all those
Of course,
links.
I'm also looking for work, so if you need a sarcastic person that knows a lot about a lot of random things, and doesn't like AI.
Yeah, same here. We're both available. I'll pick up the mantle and start writing about sex movies.
Well, the thing is, if you like sex videos, I have a whole series I did for WHI, Women's Health Interactive, which is me showing how to make I don't know how graphic I can be, fleshlight.
Okay.
Fleshlights, but with things that you have around the house, like sponges and socks and so forth.
Okay.
So it's a bunch of videos
Awesome.
of me doing that. So if you look at DIY fleshlights and then Wednesday Leave Friday, it'll come right up for you, and it is hilarious.
I'm gonna go check that out now, actually.
And if you have a Pringles can, bring it with you.
Okay. Anonymous shipping, I'm assuming. But yeah, no, I love it. I think that's fantastic. And yeah, there's no holds barred on this show. I highly encourage everybody to, again, as Wednesday said, try to have more orgasms. And if you have penises on your back, like a stegosaurus, show them some attention. That's a lot of orgasms, folks. If you have a back full of penises like a stegosaurus, Jesus.
Yeah, you're going to sleep awesome.
Yo, just
awesome sleep.
Unless your cat climbs on you and starts licking one of them, that's going to not be a fun.
All right, no,
yeah.
That's
See, I just ruin everything.
If you enjoyed this program, you should totally follow it online.
Oh, yeah.
Now you're talking.
So where are you?
Go to Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, Letterboxd, and YouTube.
Cool.
And search for Cinema Milkshake.
Do it. We'll give it a whirl. Why not?
And
Like, follow, share, and leave feedback.
you tell the world.
You certainly don't have to, but it would be a whole lot cooler if you did.
Believe that shit.
Word.
Oh, that's good.
Until next time, don't let the bastards grind you down.
Listen, don't get prancy with me, kiddo.
Keep watching movies.
Dude, that movie was fucking sweet. In fact, you fucking ass it was.
And, most importantly, dear listeners,
What's up?
enjoy every milkshake.
I feel like something incredible is really gonna happen here.
Ooh, that's a bingo.
I'm disgusted and repulsed, and I can't look away.
What is it, some kind of a joke?
Some sort, yes.
Bravo!
You're mocking me, aren't you?
How dare you?
Do you know anything about the art of film production?
Well, I like to think so. Direction, the acting, the storyline, that shit was bad.
Wow.
That was fucking trippy.
Yeah, boy.
What did you think?
Whoa, wait, what's going on?
I can't talk about it anymore. It's giving me a headache.
I hate you.
That's part of your problem, you know. You haven't seen enough movies. All of life's riddles are answered in the movies.
I had enough. I give up. I want to go home.
You want to know what I think?
Yes.
I think you're some kind of deviated prevert.